the internal part of you has to become more valuable. And once that is more valuable, everything about you is more valuable. Everything about you seems more beautiful. And I think that's what other people see. I think that's what other people are drawn to. That's what people say, oh, she's so confident. True, but what you're seeing is me knowing my value. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be about body image and kind of like my journey and my struggle, I guess, with my own body image. So it's going to be a little bit transparent, but hopefully I'll be able to offer you some words of encouragement, and then just also with sharing my journey, you'll be encouraged to have body acceptance, body peace, and just kind of enjoy the journey. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'll start by saying that this is a topic I have written about a few times on my Instagram feed, but I don't think I've ever made any type of video content about my body, how I feel about my body, etc. So I guess I'll start from the beginning. I think the first time I noticed that I wasn't completely happy with my body was elementary school, if I can be completely honest. So I remember, this is gonna sound crazy, but I remember sitting in a circle. We were doing some school activity at school, sitting in a circle, and you know, you're sitting on your ankles or you're sitting on your knees. I don't know how to phrase it. I'll like pop a picture like what I mean, like how I was sitting. And I was sitting next to my friend who, we were probably about the same weight, but I've always been hippie, guys. I've always had hips, you know, I can be completely honest. I just remember thinking my thighs look bigger than hers. And I remember feeling shame, okay? So that was probably 3rd or 4th grade. In middle school, I think that heightened. I went to a predominantly white middle school, and so I think, you know, during this time, of course, you're going through puberty, your body is changing, you're also like more hyper aware of what the opposite sex is attracted to during this time. And then going to school with a lot of, you know, white boys and girls, if I can be completely honest, I think did shape my body image. And I don't want to say my self-esteem, because I think my family has always done a great job of like encouraging me in like in every area of my life, like physically and intellectually and all those things. But I think there, like, you can't escape a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old mind going into school, spending what, 8, 9, however many hours a day at this place, and trying to assimilate into that culture, whatever that culture for your particular school, neighborhood, community is. Like, you cannot escape that. So I do remember wishing, and around this time, America's Next Top Model, I remember, was getting super, super popular. So there was just a lot of images of tall and slender women, and I'm not tall, I'm 5'4", and I just don't have a slender body type. No matter how much I weigh, and I've lost weight before, an unhealthy way, and I'll get into that in a minute, I've just never had a slender body type. That's just not my body type. So fast forward into, I would probably say college. I'm gonna kind of skip high school, because I feel like although I did have thoughts about my body and oh, my hips or my thighs are too big, I don't remember it being anything like super, super troublesome or anything like that. I don't remember any distinct comments from my peers about my body or my weight. And I want to be clear, like, I don't believe I was ever classified as overweight, but again, you want to assimilate. You know, most people that age are trying to assimilate as much as possible to what is the standard. And I will also say that social media has pluses and minuses, but I think one of the positive aspects of social media is seeing a variety of body types, a variety of body shapes, and people love themselves where they are. Now, I'm not saying that like you should have unhealthy habits or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that genetically, everyone is not tall and skinny. Genetically, some people have big boobs, some people have small boobs. All of that is fine. So I think learning to love the things about yourself that are not changing at least naturally, you know, and I'm not talking about physical exercise, but are not changing unless you are under a knife. I feel like for me that was super, super important. So the more pivotal time in my life where body image became a really big deal for me was actually college. And so I remember that I gained the freshman 15, which is funny because I actually did not leave the hometown that I grew up in, but the campus that I was at, they had like this Chick-fil-A thing on campus. And so every day I went to Chick-fil-A. Every day I ordered my #1 extra pickles, fries, and probably a sweet tea. I've been a sweet tea drinker since as long as I can remember. And I was eating that like every day. And I just remember like one day like looking in the mirror and putting my pants on. I was like, these don't fit like how they used to fit. So I dropped the Chick-fil-A. I was running every day. I think I was like going on runs in between classes because I had morning classes, then I had like a huge break, and then I had afternoon classes. And so I was running every day, but that wasn't necessarily the unhealthy part. The unhealthy part was like I was very, very, very critical of how I ate. Like and this is almost embarrassing to say, and I do not recommend it. I probably was eating under 1,000 calories a day, mainly like frozen vegetables. I can't even remember water. I don't know. I really just was not eating, and it's honestly by the grace of God that I never passed out. Just gonna be completely honest. Looking back on it, not proud of it. Definitely don't recommend it. But I'm trying to illustrate like my journey and like what I had to go through. So that did not last very long, probably like 2 or 3 months or whatever. And then fast forward to when I was in grad school, I remember, I don't know why I decided to wanted to lose weight at this particular time, but I guess I had gained maybe like 10, 15 pounds or something, just kind of eating a little bit crazy. And this time I was eating, and I wasn't tracking calories here, I don't think, but I was eating healthy. I was eating like lean meats, vegetables, fruit, oatmeal, things like that for breakfast. And I was eating like a substantial amount of food, like good quality food, but probably if I had to guess, maybe like 1,500 calories or something like that. Like I was eating a sufficient amount of food. However, the unhealthy behavior that I exhibited here was weighing myself every day. And I had a roommate, shout out to Jasmine if you're watching this, that literally told me you cannot weigh yourself anymore. Like, I don't know if we moved the scale to her room or the scale was originally in her room, but she was just like, do not come over here and weigh yourself anymore. So I think that obsession with weight and that obsession with seeing the scale go down 1 pound or even the scale go up 1 pound, because sometimes that does happen when you're losing weight. Like it's not always like smooth. I don't know how to explain it. Like some days your weight may fluctuate half a pound or a pound, but I think that messed with my mind. And so I think I had to come to a point where I had to accept my body for what it is and understand that, one, I'm beautiful no matter what. And then 2, debunking this idea that I have to be skinny to be beautiful. And I think that is the thing that I had to fight with the most. And I think that goes back to the images I saw in media growing up, and especially in middle school, and like who I saw the guys pick in middle school and so on and so forth. And what's crazy is like people may see me now and be like, oh, you're so confident and oh, this and that. And I don't even think going through this made me confident. I think there's a lot of other things in my life the last few years that have made me probably extraordinarily more confident than I was in years past. But I do think that as far as my physical appearance, I definitely had to debunk myths. So one of the first things that, if you're struggling with this, that you need to realize is that body shapes go in and out of style. What do I mean by that? I mean that in the 1950s or whatever, it was in or trendy to be curvy, like Marilyn Monroe. However, you fast forward to, I believe, the 1960s, and the it girl is Twiggy, who is very petite, who probably weighs 100 pounds or less. And there's nothing wrong with being curvy, and there's nothing wrong with being petite and like weighing 100 pounds if that is what is for your height and body frame, you know what I mean? But I had to come into an acceptance that being fit or being happy is not one size fits all. Literally. And even I'm still progressing and understanding what that looks like for me, because this time last year I was all about HIIT workouts. If you know me, you actually know that I used to go to Orange Theory religiously, and I still think Orange Theory is great and it has a lot of positives and pluses to it. But for me, like where I am with my body and also mentally, because the two are connected, your mental self and your body, I've just been enjoying going on walks a lot more. So I try to go on walks when I can. I try to use that time to like talk to God and pray. And yes, it's, you know, good for my mental and spiritual being, but it's also good for my physical body to get fresh air. I work from home, so I don't leave the house unless I make myself leave the house. So I think as I've grown up, beauty has become more about holistic beauty and less about what size I wear. I used to obsess over the size of jeans I wore. Oh, I went through this phase, guys. It's honestly heartbreaking to remember, because it wasn't that long ago. It was probably college, high school. If I had to buy a size 8, I would flip out. Like, no, I'm not wearing a size 8. I just won't buy the jeans. I'll go somewhere else where I can wear a size 6 like I normally wear. Like, guys, it was literally obsessive. And I think also kind of that obsessive, like, control behavior-ish definitely probably spread into other areas of my life. But I think when I learned to accept my body for what it is, which is beautiful, it doesn't have to look like someone else's body to be beautiful. And also I think a lot of people, especially back then, I think people are more open-minded now, but I think a lot of people had a certain standard of beauty that was centered on the way their body looked. So if they are skinny, then if you're not skinny, you're not acceptable. That's not true. And I think that we can all be challenged in that, because again, like I have larger breasts. Some people don't have larger breasts. Does that mean that someone with small boobs is not beautiful? No, that doesn't mean that at all. Does that mean that someone with paler skin than me is not beautiful? Of course not. Does it mean that someone with darker skin is not beautiful? Of course not. So I think that we all just have to, you have to, and it's gonna sound cheesy, but you have to value what's on the inside more than what's on the outside. Like the internal part of you has to become more valuable. And once that is more valuable, everything about you is more valuable. Everything about you seems more beautiful. And I think that's what other people see. I think that's what other people are drawn to. That's what people say, oh, she's so confident. True, but what you're seeing is me knowing my value. So hope that video was helpful. If you would like more videos like this, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.